Hello and welcome to everyone. You have found your way to the Sacred Wisdom Circle, and we are delighted to have you with us. Linked by the golden thread, we are lighthouses and beacons of truth, guiding the way. Through deep conversations and shared wisdom, we illuminate the path and heal through truth. And we would love to also hear and share in your wisdom. So as we go through, or as you go through this episode, pop your notes or pop your comments up in the chat underneath the video. So, ladies, what's up? What's happening?
I don't even know, all kinds of things.
Janice is laughing already.
Janice is over here with her rose-covered glasses. Let's see them.
Yes, I am, because I truly am turning towards the light. I am shutting down all that dark negativity and believe we are in a renaissance of light, and we get to
Yes.
turn into that light. So I want you guys to get pink glasses, rose-colored glasses. And
I gotta
start
go find
looking
them
at the
now.
world through that. They're fun. I put them on once in a while in my groups and just say, we need to be a little more positive. So we are not spiritually bypassing. We are fully aware of everything that is going on, but we get to choose. We get
Yeah.
to choose. And right now, our choice is so powerful and impactful for the way nothing is created yet. Nothing is guaranteed. And we get to choose how the world unfolds in front of us. And so
Yep.
that's what I really feel there is this really big call to face the light, you guys. Let's just go this way into the light. Let's just let everything else go. And, but what I wanted to ask you guys was, have you noticed how intuitive people are getting to be?
Yeah. It's
Like, it
craziness,
is
right?
blowing my mind. I will just think something and someone else will say it. Like, and we can be as far away as you and I, Angela, which is what
Yeah.
we were just figuring out before we came on the call, how far away we are from each other. I mean, it's the beginning of summer here, it's the beginning of winter there. How, like, here doesn't that, I was listening to a podcast. Oh, I'm rambling now. Sorry, you guys.
It's okay. Go ahead.
Um,
Bring it all.
Bruce Lipton was talking about the fact that here and now no longer exist. Like they're
Yeah.
not even that in our consciousness because I'm saying I'm here and I'm in Alberta. And you're, Angela, saying I'm here and you're in South Africa, Johannesburg, and Alana's in PEI. And we're all saying I'm here, but here is not even
Here.
here anymore. It is in the liminal space. It's in the
Yeah.
quantum, right?
Well, even like
Even
an
now.
alignment. Yeah. Well,
Sorry.
even in alignment to what you said earlier of like Angela's ending her day and you're starting your day and the potential is so good and all of these different things. And it's like time and the present moment is is what we're here to perceive, but we create this whole like experience around time.
Yeah.
So here's a thought. While my day is ending and your day is beginning, when your day ends and my day begins, we are circling the light all over the planet. It's not
Mhm.
stopping because I happen to go to bed and that's the end of it. Because you guys carry on. And then when you're
I love it.
sleeping, I'm carrying on. So we just carrying on.
Passing those rose-colored glasses everywhere. Sorry.
Yes, I will pass them to you, Angela. You can, yeah, have them, or well,
I'll be
I'll
sure to
wear
go
them
get
for the
myself.
day.
Now make sure you send me a picture of the shape so I can go get myself. a pair.
Oh,
Seriously, on a serious note, on a very joyful, serious note, I know you've been grandmothers and nannies and nanas and grannies for a while now. I became a
Yes.
grandmother for the first time this week, and she's
Congratulations.
precious. Thank you so much. She's just too precious. And I had a moment talking about anchoring light. I was standing at her bassinet and just looking at her sleep. I mean, all the child does is sleep. She hardly cries. But and her name is Taylor Jade. How pretty is that?
Beautiful.
And I was staring at her, and we've had this kind of horrible energy in South Africa this week with all this xenophobic stuff going on. And I was standing at her bassinet and just looking at her while my daughter was still in hospital, just looking at her and going, yep, this is why we do what we do. We're doing this for her. We're doing this for every child. We're doing this so that we can anchor a different energy in for the next 7 generations, that they don't have to inherit all the stuff that we've been clearing and clearing and clearing and clearing. And so if we ever have to kind of stop and ask one of the reasons why, it is because it is around the next 7 generations and giving them an alternative
Yeah.
way of being. Yes, they still have free will choice, but still giving and creating or remembering that there is an alternative. I don't even know that we're creating as much as we're remembering. And it was kind of quite a sober and yet at the same time sobering and joyful moment standing at her bassinet. She is just the sweetest, sweetest thing. She's just too cute. And you love that newborn when they don't focus and their little eyes are open and like, but
Just letting it all in.
taking it all in.
Yes.
Mhm.
It's
So, yeah.
so, so precious to be a grandmother, mother, grandmother. I love being in my crone years because when you look and gaze into your grandchildren's eyes and you see that cycle of life, you see
Yep.
the full cycle, and it gives you such a different perspective on everything.
Mhm.
And I'm so happy for you, Angela. It's a special, special time.
Oh, and just to
Congratulations.
see that when you hold a newborn and they nuzzle you in your neck, it's just
Mm,
the most precious, precious thing. So,
it
yeah, very exciting times. But again, the sobering thing for me around this is that all children deserve that. Every single child deserves that kind of space and that kind of platform of which to start their life. And that is why anchoring the life for all of us is so important, is to be able
yeah.
to create that more and more and more. So yeah, it's been from that point of view, been quite a mixed feelings week with all the other stuff going on. Um, all we could do is anchor the light and keep sending it out into hopefully illuminating and creating sparks in the darkness for other people to catch the light.
Mm.
So true.
You just reminded me of something that I had written about a little while ago, and I probably won't remember the whole thing. These things come through, they're like coming through so fast and furious. I
Yep.
look back in my journal and go, "Holy man, I forgot that." But how when we're born, like before we're born, we're fully in the light. And then as we're born, there's a cutoff, not completely, but a disengaging, I would say, of the light. But it was always meant that we would be caught by those here in love and surrounded in love here. And and so when that doesn't happen for those unfortunate people, it's like you're constantly searching for the light again. You're constantly searching like a little baby searching for that nipple, like you watch even like little baby kittens and puppies, like they just will search and search and search. And so it's so beautiful when a baby comes in and is celebrated and loved so fully, like your little grandbaby.
You
Mm.
must see her father. He is completely whipped. She has got him wrapped right around. And they were talking the other day about the difference of dads with daughters and dads with sons, how different the energy and the frequency.
Oh yeah.
And I saw a video today on LinkedIn. A dad had put up a video, and he was a dad of a daughter, and he
Mm.
was talking about the two women in his life both being she's the beach, the daughter's the beach, and the mom's the ocean, and every now and then they clash and there's storm clouds and things. And his role is to be the harbor wall and just to stay solid and stand in that kind of steadfastness for both of the women in his life. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful video. And how much so many men, I mean, my son-in-law and my son are in their 30s, my son-in-law towards his later 30s and my son in the middle 30s or mid 30s, and just how different their energy is and how different their um, well, this is certainly what I'm experiencing, and also with all of Warren's, my son-in-law's friends as well, how different they are in how they're stepping up in such more balanced energy. Um, it's been so, so beautiful to watch just how Warren is just taken to just being this dad. He said he sent a message the other day to say it was the day before yesterday. She'd slept on his chest for the first hour, for an hour. He said, "My heart was bursting out of my chest with love for this child." I'm like,
Yeah.
even gone and bought my daughter a bar fridge for the nursery and stocked it with all her favorite snacks while she's feeding the baby in the
Aw,
nursery.
that's
That's so
awfully
I'm
sweet.
like,
sweet. No,
can
kitty.
we clone him?
Well, and nurturing her, caring for her. I love that. That beautiful support for her. That's
Yeah.
lovely.
And so
Uh,
they've cocooned themselves off now for 2 weeks because he's on leave from work. And
Good.
they go, no visitors, just the three of them. So
Oh,
unless
so
there's a
nice.
alpha help. So yeah.
yeah.
It's
So,
funny too, as this current generation that are having children in this moment are okay to do that. Because I remember like, and not at a judgment for what we've had in the past, but like that in my experience wouldn't have been okay to even do. Do you know what I mean? To like say like, oh well, this person like I just want this space for us. Like it didn't it like I just feel I'm so proud of them for being able to have give themselves permission to say, you know what, we're gonna just be us for 2 weeks. Like that was
yeah.
unheard of before.
Yeah.
Maybe just my
Yeah,
own
and also
experience, but
yeah. No,
the
it is.
expectation.
She had a bit of a rough time, and she's had a C-section, and so she also
Mhm.
needs the time and space to rest.
Oh, of
Um,
course.
and they also just this is their bonding time. Um,
Mhm.
and she was very insistent. 2 weeks, you gotta take leave for 2 weeks because 'cause I'm not doing this on my own for 2 weeks. He's the one who's already changed the nappies. I mean, obviously, she's still recovering from a C-section, but it's just again, they are more I find when I observe my children and their, relationships and their friends, they seem to be a lot more balanced, both work
Yes.
and
Yeah, yeah.
play. They seem to that whole generation of balancing out work and just different. They have a different my daughter says to me, she says, "You wanna know why all of us are suffering from anxiety? Because it's all your generation." I said, "Thank you very much for that."
Yep.
So, yeah, it's observing and watching the generational differences, and it's as much as our parents' generation was different for us and how much we've liberated so much from what they brought in and their generation before that. So, it's
Exactly.
part of the progression and the cycle of life.
Yeah.
Um,
I have
so
a
yeah.
son who is a stay-at-home dad, and he was always the go-getter, entrepreneur, I want to experience the whole world kind of guy. And I thought, like, he let go of his career to be a stay-at-home dad. And I thought, oh, I wonder how long he'll be okay with this. And he is
Mhm.
absolutely loving it. Loving it. And
Good.
he's good. He's put his life on hold and he's smiles when he says it. And he's like, no, I love being at home with these guys. I can do that later, which is really beautiful.
Well, that's what I mean, that whole grounded experience and honoring themselves versus giving themselves up or abandoning themselves for, what
Yep.
what we think should happen or how it
Yes.
should be. Like that's the shift that I think is so freaking powerful.
That's so true.
Yeah, there's a lot of societal norms being rewritten and much more balanced, which is amazing to see. So yeah, and it's also a lot more permission to just be authentic.
Yeah.
And as you say, Alana, in that authenticity, I'm giving myself permission to not abandon myself, but to stand in my truth. And that is light. That is the light being reflected in a way that is grounded and practical. And it might not be kind of this kind of headspace, the more soul connected light is from the
Yeah.
crown chakra to the universe. But it's that very solid, grounded, earthing energy that's coming through, which is amazing.
Which is allowing them to be more soul centered and
Yep,
why there's such a rise in intuition
Yeah.
because
Exactly.
there's
absolutely.
space to listen now. We're hearing it.
Yep,
It's
yep.
not that it wasn't there before. It's just coming
I think,
online.
yeah, there's other stuff that they deal with more so than I think than what we've had to deal with, and that's all the
Yeah.
noise with technology and all of that kind of stuff. But also again the permission to just tune it out and yeah, not. I mean, I love these. Sometimes you see it on movies where these kids look at their parents and go, "On their phone again. They're on their phones again." And that kind of that message the children are sending back to their parents saying, "Mm-mm, not okay, just not okay."
Mm.
So yeah, the cycles of life.
Mm, yeah,
Um,
beautiful.
yep.
Alana, what's happening in your life?
What is happening in my life? There not very much. It's been Canada, like this week for all of us, like in America, it's been Canada Day, and there's the US holiday that's tomorrow, because it's Friday to Saturday. It's been a bit of a slower week, of just sitting back and kind of reflecting more, I feel. And one of the things I wanted to say today too was sometimes we get caught up in the like, and not caught up, I guess it's not the right word, but like bringing what you said, Janice, of like, let's just look at the light. Sometimes when things show up, it can be difficult to just switch that like perspective and to give ourselves again that permission to honor how we feel in the moment. Because what's been brought to my attention this week is that we can't, when we're deep in the thick of it or in the weeds of something that you're struggling with or you're going through, it's you can't just be like, oh, what would my higher self choose, or what would my whatever, what if I put on my rose? Like it takes a minute. But I think it's more about allowing ourselves the experience to listen within as opposed to trying to override that, like, okay, I need to change it, I need to fix it, but listen and pause and give ourselves grace to really understand what's going on, what's underneath it versus like forcing a change.
Mhm.
That was my
I
two
love
cents I
that.
wanted to share today.
Yeah, and that was the message that on my Monday morning gathering, which I've always come online and given the Monday morning message of the energy that I feel is coming through. And now I've opened it up and it's become a group, like I put it on Zoom so that people could come join me. And it was beautiful because I explained, that feeling that I was getting was the nudge of, you know, wouldn't it be nice if you just stopped planning so much? Right?
Mhm.
and, and I was feeling that. And I said, I feeling like that energy of let go of control again
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
ease back. And every single woman on there said, yeah, I'm feeling, and they said it in different words, but the common uh, energetic pulse was slow down,
Yeah.
slow
yeah.
down. And it's interesting because we're in the year of the fire horse, and everything is moving so quickly. And yet we are being guided to slow down, center, pick and choose where you want to go. And I really feel like things are expanding quite profoundly right now.
Profound's a good word, I feel too. Yeah.
Yeah, and what I guided my group to do this week was I started a new group of soulfully aligned creative mystics, and we had our very first deep soul journey gathering. And one of the things I said to them, which I've never done before, is to start a whisper journal, which is what I want to do. I'm doing. And the whisper journal is every time you get a nudge from your soul. Anytime something comes through that says, this would be nice, or you should do this, or like don't edit it and don't worry about following through unless that works for you. Just write it down. And so keeping track of all those little nudges, and it will help them discern, what is a fear nudge and what is my soul wisdom coming through, like when we reflect back. Because oftentimes we forget and we go, oh my gosh, I knew it. I knew I should have. I should,
Yeah. Right.
and I forgot. I knew it. And I had written a couple things down already in mine this week, and lo and behold, one just unfolded beautifully on its own. I didn't even have to create the situation. It just boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like a weight's been lifted off my shoulders. So, and that's kind of where I was like, yeah, slow down, listen. I love what you said. Like, just like go into it. Hmm.
Mm.
We can't, I certainly am learning more and more and more, is that we can't be in flow if we don't create space to be in flow. And
Yeah.
again, it comes
Hmm.
back to the permission. And in picking up, again, all of these things are leading into each other. intuition happens a lot when we're in that slowing down space. Um, and moving into that, okay, I wonder what, and being curious. I wonder what spirit's wanting me to focus on at this point in time. And stepping into that energy of the curiosity, as opposed to this kind of over controlling. I have to be in control of all things all of the time. And how much energy that takes. It's huge amounts of energy to sit in control, and yet when we're in the pause is when our energy fields are being restored as well. So that when we need to get into movement, we're doing so from our bodies are balanced, somatically we're okay, and we have built up the energy reserves to move into the next cycle of movement.
Mm.
And that for me has been such a liberating connection to the divine feminine, is because that's where the pause sits.
Mm.
And, it's just, I think some of the time, some of the conception around pausing is if I don't get this done, if I don't do this, back into
Yep.
that rat trap and the hamster wheel. And it's just be still and breathe and connect. And again, the curiosity. I wonder what's going to be unfolding and unraveling now. And I love what you're saying about the whisper journal because it is about receiving those intuitive thoughts, putting them down. They don't necessarily need to be acted on, as you said. Um, and I found that that's also being in that space, things unfold differently to if I had tried to control the way that they were going to unfold.
Yep.
And that's been, and it's always, I wouldn't say bigger and better because it's not the kind, we don't measure it that way, but it's always surprising as to the difference of allowing the unfolding versus if I was trying to drive it and control it myself. Always
Mhm.
ends up very different and always ends up much deeper, much more connected to source and consciousness than if I was trying to do it because a lot of the control sits here in our head. Um, and it's just letting go of all of those thoughts, tying
Yeah.
them to, I think it was, what's her name? She did the journey work, Brandon Bass used to say, tie the thought to a balloon and let the balloon just
Just
carry itself
carried away.
away into the
I love
atmospheres.
that. There is a little kid's book, and I can't remember what it's called, but it is that I have an idea. I had an idea, and it's this little balloon following along, and through the whole thing, um, they're holding this idea, and then in the end, you know, executes on it. But there's a series of books like that, Angela, you might like. Um, I'll have to dig into my brain here and see if I can remember the name of that book.
I love that.
Yeah.
I want to go back to something you two said about the whisper journal as well, and the fact that like the unedited, and this has been something that like literally I posted about this earlier, and it speaks to even Angela what you're saying about these making the choices, and we've been through the last few years in this space. It's been about manifestation and choosing what you want, and then in that same energy, though, we're in that like you said, trying to control the outcome. And it's like where we're shifting, I feel too, is about not just like you said, Janice, is around not just choosing it, but allowing that to come through and choosing from the light versus making the decision and trying to force or control it to happen. And one of the things that I posted earlier this week was like recognizing those minutes, those times where we're actually negotiating with our own truth, and like you said, writing it down unedited, because a lot of the times before we even get to the making a decision of something, we've already edited it 10 or 12 times without even realizing it
Yes.
subconsciously with all of the programming that we've been receiving that we don't even realize. And it's like, stop negotiating with the truth that comes through. And like you said, without editing it, with just like what comes through and write it down and then observe and see where you want to go from there and just recognize what returns, what continues, what's fear, what's not. And it's the observing point, but we are usually, I could tell you from my own experience, for those that are listening, I even at the very beginning of this journey, as I was asked to write things down, I can guarantee you, even when it wasn't completely edited, I like consciously couldn't write things down because I was scared I was going to do it wrong or think the wrong thing or create, especially in manifestation. There's all this like what you think becomes reality and whatever. So there's so much pressure around what we think and how we feel. And literally slowing down is a really big key to that, as well as like you said, of not editing. But some of the time we don't even realize how much we negotiate with ourselves of what our truth truly is. But having that
One of
opportunity
the things
to really
yeah,
listen to that intuitiveness without editing it is so freaking powerful. I love that.
Yeah.
one of the things, a statement that I've learned to work with a lot is more will be revealed. So when an idea comes through, it's not always in its full form. And
Hmm.
that setting it aside because more is going to be revealed. And instead of these, yeah, I need to go into putting all the plans into place and kind of this is the to-do list. No. And I can feel it in my body when it's not ready to move, my body starts to tense up. It's harder work. It feels like pushing a boulder up a hill versus when it's in that energy of flow and that whisper is developed into something more. I mean, you all know this. We can churn out stuff in 20 minutes, 30 minutes that would have taken us a day if we were trying to control it and push it up the hill. Um, and so that's one of the signals as well to look for is that setting it aside and just trusting that more is going to be revealed. So that was something for me that's been quite significant around things like the whispers. As you
Hmm.
say, put them down and edit it and trust that more will be revealed or not if it's ready. One of the things that I wanted to say to you too, Alana, is that it's part what I've also learned is that it's possible to hold two thoughts in conjunction with each other. One
Oh,
can be an old belief that's coming up, and I can be holding the truth at the same time.
yeah.
And with that is acceptance that it is that the acceptance brings us to that middle point. What I've also learned to do is to be grateful for that old belief because it served its purpose. It's
100%.
not wrong. We're so quick to put judgments on. They're not wrong. It served a purpose. If that purpose was to protect me, whatever that purpose was, it's an outdated belief system that is no longer serving. And
Yes.
the best, the most profound way that I've found of dealing with that is to actually thank it for what it
Yes.
has done.
Gratitude.
Yeah. And that it has held a space for me for whatever that reason might be. And I can also bring in the new truths and the two can coexist. And that's been a huge big because otherwise we polarize and we're still going backwards and forwards into the one or the other and the extremes of the either or. And that the two can exist, coexist. And as they coexist, that belief, that old belief starts to dissolve and the new belief starts to take hold. Um, and that's always for me, it's not we do this work, it's a process. It's not like switching a
Yeah.
light switch on and off. There is a process that we
No.
go through. And in that is also that acceptance that I can be both of these energies. I choose this one
Yeah.
more so than I choose that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been
That's
something.
what I love what you're describing there, Angela, because it really is when I'm working with women in their business and they want to start a business or they have this idea and they haven't taken the steps forward yet, all the nudges that they're getting because they're so far ahead and in well, what if? And it's like, no, let's come back to being present right here, right now. And what's the nudge to do today? And
Yes.
allow that step to go forward. And what's the nudge to do then tomorrow, like when we get it? So we get so caught up in the fears and the worries we of what we've observed from other people. What if it gets too busy? What if I get overwhelmed? What if I come up to something I don't know how to figure out? It's like, let's just create one day at a time. Let's just allow all of those inspirations to come through because when we resist them, like, they'll go somewhere else, just like, in Big Magic, with what's her name? The author of that book. It's,
She wrote Eat, Pray,
I
Love.
I know it
Mm.
it'll come to me, but yeah, it's the
Elizabeth Gilbert, it's sitting on the
thank
side of
you.
my bed.
Yes, we all have that book, I bet.
Yeah.
But if you don't accept that inspiration or that idea, somebody else will, and that's okay. If that's what you choose, you just gotta there's no competition, there's no shortage, it's all abundance. But if it's something that is near and dear to your heart and you really wanna do it, but you're resisting because you're so caught up in the future, the solution is come back to the present moment and just what are you gonna do today? And
Yeah.
we hear that so often, but I love the way you were saying it too.
Yeah. And also, timing is such a huge thing as well. And learning and understanding the unfolding of timing, because very often these whispers will come through, but the universe hasn't aligned itself yet
Yeah.
for that whisper to be able to ground and to be able to expand and grow. It doesn't mean to say that, and again, we move away from right or wrong. It's just the timing is not. That is a huge part of my learning over the years, is just to trust the unfolding and trust the timing, because when that happens, it becomes effortless. It becomes incredible in terms of how that movement just starts to take place. I mean, Alon, you've been experiencing a lot of that this year, around things just unfolding, just as
Yeah.
they,
Oh,
yeah,
100%.
been a huge energy for you this year.
Totally. And it's just like you said, it's that, but a lot of it aligns with that pause, the slow down, the listen. And like you said, Janice, just taking the one step at a time. Like
Right.
it's a practice. And we're all meant to come here to learn and experience that and understand it for ourselves in our own way. And it will come through, like you said, exactly when it's ready. And we can't create it, force it, control it to come any faster. But the more we slow down and we listen and pay attention, the easier it becomes.
Absolutely.
Instead of, it's literally that divine feminine energy of like allowing the unfolding, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I had an interesting shift this week. I've spoken about the fact, you guys, that I've been led to go back. The whispers are to be going back or putting work back into the corporate world again. And it's kind of this shift from the heaviness of coming out of 2025 and the 23 years of all of this work and seemingly not going anywhere, and all of that story that came through at the end, because I was finished. I was absolutely exhausted, finished. And just this week, when I was journaling, one of the things that came up for me was, it wasn't 23 years of hard work, it was 23 years of asset creation. And just that difference in perspective has just created such a different frequency and such a different energy. And so, sometimes, and this is also speaking to women who running their own businesses, and particularly those that are working with intellectual property, is that we're building assets all the time. We're building assets that can be taken out into the world. And so when we see it that way, as opposed to hard work, it becomes a completely different frame of reference. Um, and so that was quite enlightening for me this week, is just to see it so differently.
yeah. What a
In
difference
amongst,
this shift
in
can
amongst
do.
cutting a baby. That,
Right?
At the same
Oh,
time.
baby love just
yeah.
brings babies bring in so much love.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yep.
They do. Oh,
Unconditional innocence. So amazing.
well, and that little shift in perspective is powerful. I know this week I woke up one morning and I was like, "Oh, I got a lot of work to do today," as I was laying in bed, and then I thought, "No, I'm creating today. I'm
Mhm.
not working, I'm creating. I'm gonna be creative today." So and it was like I felt that energy shift from a heaviness into a enlightened, like, "Oh, okay, let's get up and create. Let's go."
Yeah.
So we gotta keep remembering, like, we got that power, that shift. Mm.
And it's
So
being present again. It's like being present with that energy. Otherwise, we wouldn't be picking up on those signals.
Hmm.
mhm. Yeah, presence. Oh, it comes back to presence, awareness. Mhm.
Yes.
Awareness
Mindful.
and presence. Yep. Yeah, that's yeah, totally it, right?
And we can choose it, like you said earlier, coming back full circle of allowing the opportunity for us to be able to choose it. Allowing, we don't have to. We can choose one or the other. Like you said, putting on the rose colored glasses, we could choose the chaos, the the turmoil, the things that are going on, or we can slow down and we can choose something different. What is the most, um, the observation or the perspective that is the most serving for us? And it's like, yeah, you can get caught up in all the things, or you can let them go, like the
Yeah.
balloon, and put on the colored glasses and choose differently.
Yeah, I just did a live this morning just on that. It's just the life is experiencing through us. And if we can let go and allow life to move through us
Yes.
and we can experience like it's it's just the perspective of like, okay, allow life in. Allow it in because we are resisting it in so many different ways from fears and like you said, getting caught with these different ideas and fears and meanings that we create. But if we could just be like imagine life blowing through us just like the wind without getting caught on anything and be open
Mhm.
to experiencing all of it. We don't get to be here for very long. And so be open to experiencing all those fears and worries and, you know, grief and all those emotions and then allow in all the good stuff too because when we're trying to live right here when there's this like massive full spectrum of life and if we can just and I'm doing this is why I'm saying if we because if
Yeah.
I am doing it, I am just like allowing myself every day to catch myself when I tighten up, catch myself when I resist and go, okay, this is life lifing, and I'm just going to let it flow. I don't
Yep.
need to do anything and I don't need to resist it.
You know, one of the things that I've learned that brings that into play is when we start with doing the breath work,
Yes.
Mm.
because that's life. Life is breath. And when we start to, that really is a kind of a key starting point for anybody who's really tight and who is feeling that their body's completely tensed up all the time and trying to get into the control, to stop and breathe and
Mhm.
do some beautiful deep breathing. And that for me has brought in so much flow in being so much more mindful and aware of the breath. I know, Janice, you were working, doing some stuff on breathing and pranic breathing, I think,
Yeah,
wasn't
and it's interesting because you say that and I'm like, "Oh, I wonder if this is the result of all the breath work that I've been doing." Because I started the beginning of the year just doing morning breath works for, 15 minutes, that's it, and I just follow someone online and in YouTube and do his little exercises. I absolutely love them, and yeah, maybe that is expanding things for me too. And that feeling of like, okay, let go and
Mhm.
let life flow. Don't be resistant to it. Don't try to control it, manipulate it. Don't say, but I don't want it that way.
Yeah.
Be open to letting it flow fully. And I keep imagining myself as like a Zen monk, just breathing and not getting caught up in any of those currents that are flowing around me.
and
Well,
that
when
is
fear
such
shows up,
Yeah.
uh, I was just gonna say when the fear shows up, that's usually when we hold our breath. And so if like and I know sometimes when something's showing up and you're activated or whatever, or triggered or the breath can be hard to find, but it may not be like I need to take a deep breath because sometimes that could be a struggle if you're caught up in it. But it's like even just noticing your breath. Like you don't need to
Yeah.
consciously shift it, but even just noticing the breath and slowing down that brings you to the present moment. And then it removes the you're no longer thinking like fear is about the anxiety and anxiety is about the fear of something that hasn't happened yet. So it's like if you can stay in the present moment, then you're like, oh, I'm here. I can feel my breath. And it's just as a for anybody that's listening that's like, well, I don't know how to do that, or I can't figure out I can't connect. Don't worry about it. Just notice your breath, period.
Yeah, and it
it.
attunes you
Hmm.
to your body.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you start to notice how your body is reacting in different situations more so than you would before.
And it's one of the most natural forms of flow. And our body just does it anyway. You know, when we're sitting unconsciously, or when I say unconsciously, when we're not hyped up or in heaps of emotion, our body's doing all that work, breathing in, breathing out. The pause still happens, the breath still. exhales. It's not anything that requires any effort. And so it's a beautiful metaphor for how we tap into the energy of flow just by
I love
connecting
that.
with the cycle of breath.
Thank you for bridging that. That's beautiful.
Yeah, that is
Cool.
beautiful. Oh my goodness.
So, does that bring us to the end of the flow of today?
It feels like it. Feels
Yeah.
like a
It does
big
feel like it's
pause.
complete. Yeah,
Hmm.
a pause, the breath pause. So, we'd love to thank everybody for joining us here today. And as our circle closes, just for now, the light always remains. The light that we embody, the light that you embody. Let these teachings and learnings and feelings echo through your being, just like a lighthouse calls over the sea, steady, unwavering, and sovereign. We'd love it that you would share what touched your soul, subscribe if you feel the call, and always remember that you are the light, you are the way, and the circle will always be here when you need to return. Blessings to each one of you. Namaste.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.